Welcome to this video, and in this video I'll show you how to connect your Vapi agent with GoHighLevel through make.com so that when you're generating leads from ads or however else you're generating leads, then your Vapi agent can call these leads and can book an appointment in your GoHighLevel calendar completely automatically. Okay, so with that being said, let's dive in. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to marketplace.gohighlevel.com/login, and you'll see this screen over here, and then you need to sign up in the beginning if you don't have an account. This is not your GoHighLevel account, by the way. This is your account for specifically for marketplace.gohighlevel.com because we need to create an app in the marketplace. So I'm gonna log in over here. I already have one app created here, but I'm gonna do it from the beginning so that I show you what you need to do. So you need to go up here, add create app. Then you need to name your app. For me, I'll just say Vapi test. Then the app type is going to be private. Distribution type, just click on agency, and sub account, click on both. And then for listing type, it's going to be white label, and then you create the app. All right, so now select scope. So we need to select the scope. Scopes is basically the amount of access that you give an app, an external app, to some other app or some other account that you have. Okay, in this case we want to give specific access to marketplace in this case because we're gonna use that access with make.com. So we have to have specific access, which is going to be calendars read only, calendars write, calendars events read only, calendars events write. And the reason for that is because we need to be able to see which time slots are available in your calendar, and then specifically for write, calendars write and calendars events write, we need to be able to add appointments in the calendars. Okay, so you do that, and then next thing that you do is you toggle these three different actions over here on, which are appointment create, appointment delete, and appointment update. And then you go down here to redirect URLs, and what you do here, you see there is this page that says how to connect make to any web service that uses OAuth 2 authorization. Now OAuth stands for open authorization. It's basically when you give an open and secure authorization to external applications to access an account of yours or an application of yours. So if we scroll down, we're gonna find the value over here, which is gonna be this URL over here. So we come here, we copy that, and then we go back to marketplace, we paste it here, and then we add it. Okay, now we need to click on this little circle to be able to select it, but we need to save the app first. Now, before we save the app, we come down here to client keys and we click on add. Then you need to generate a client key. In this example, again, I'm gonna say Vapi test, then we click on add. Now in general, I would have the client ID and secret blurred out, but in this case, I'm just gonna delete it afterwards. So what you need to do is you take client ID. I would suggest you create a Google document, which is gonna be for sure private, and you paste client ID and client secret in that document. So I'm just gonna take client secret 2, fantastic, cool. Now, when I have them here, I go back here, I go back to the marketplace, and I click on OK, cool. Next, I click on save, and we have created the app that we're gonna use in make.com to connect GoHighLevel and Vapi. Okay, so after that, we go to Vapi. Cool, so this is a dummy account that I have, and the first thing that I would suggest you do is you connect it properly to make.com. Okay, so we go back down over here, and then we go to provider credentials. Now we can scroll down, and then you're gonna find make.com. So you need to enter the region, you need to enter the API key, and then you need to enter the team ID. Okay, so how you do that is for the region, there are only 4 regions, either EU1, US1, EU2, or US2. So you can find it over here. For myself, it's EU2. So I go back to Vapi, I put it here, then API key. By the way, this is also a dummy account for Make. The only purpose that I created that is to show you, and you can see how many tests I did. Cool. So for API, you go back down to your name, and then you go to your profile, you go to API, and then I'll go to add token, you label it, for example, Vapi test, then scope, select all. Basically, you give all access over here. You save it. So you would take this, which is the API key, you copy that, and then you go back to Vapi, you paste it over here, fantastic. And then for team ID, again, you go back to make, you go to organization, cool. Then you go to variables, then you find organization ID, and then you take the value here, you copy that value, you go back to Vapi, and you paste it here, cool. And then you click on save. Fantastic, we have everything working perfectly. Now, after that, I mean, I don't know how new your account is on Vapi, or if you have any phone numbers, if you have any assistants, any tools. I will show you the simplest version on how to do that, on how to connect GoHighLevel and have the assistant call the leads and then book them in the calendar. Okay, so the first thing that you will need is a phone number. So in my case, I imported it from Twilio. If you have a Twilio account, you basically go on your account, you find your Twilio account ID, you put it here, Twilio OAuth token, you put it here. You can label it. You can label the phone number, and then you basically paste over here your Twilio phone number. I have no idea what Vonage is, so I'm just gonna go off from it. Or you can just buy a number. It's very simple, very easy. Okay, cool. After you've done that, I've created an assistant, which is literally like you just click on create an assistant. Then I chose appointment setter, and it was Mary the appointment setter, the dentist appointment setter. And the only thing that I changed here is this paragraph. Okay, so you can just check it out. It basically says that if the booking slot isn't available, like the person will inquire a specific booking slot. If that booking slot is not available, then the bot is gonna give him the closest time just before that inquiry. Let's say that the person said 12 p.m. and let's say 12 p.m. is booked, but 11 a.m. is not booked. So it will give him 11 a.m. and then it will give him, let's say 1 p.m., like just before and just after the closest times that it can find. Okay, cool. So after you've created the assistant, you need to create a tool. Now I have already created a tool. I'll go ahead and create again an identical tool. Click on new tool over here. Now, for that tool, we need to start creating a scenario in make.com. So what you will need is a webhook in the beginning, and you need to create a custom webhook. So if you do not know what a webhook is, it's basically, you can imagine it as a little thingy that gets triggered when something happens, that either gets triggered because something happened in an external application or even an external workflow or an external scenario in make.com. Okay, so you can have, let's say, different scenarios in make.com, and then one scenario can trigger this scenario. Okay, so whatever exists outside of a scenario, it can trigger a webhook, and then that webhook can trigger another, like a continuation of actions. Okay, so we click on create a webhook. Fantastic. Then we name the webhook. In this case, again, it's going to be Vapi test number 2. Cool. Then we click on save. Now we have this URL, okay, which is the webhook URL. You can click on copy address to clipboard. Then we go back to Vapi, and then we click on make over here. Then for server URL, we drop the webhook down here, and then we click on save, and then we click on next. Cool. The property name is going to be appointment time. Cool. And then describe the property, and it says the appointment time phrase that the person says regarding when he wants to book an appointment. We save that. Now, the only thing that I want to go through the webhook when the lead says I want to book an appointment is only the appointment time. If you want more things to go through the webhook, for example, what's the person's name or something else, let's say where the person lives or something like that, then you can add more properties. In this case, for example, you can say name, you can say person's name, so that, for example, your bot can say, okay, what's your name and what time do you want to book an appointment? So this is how you would create it if you wanted the name to go through, but I don't care about the name now because I already have the name because the lead came through GoHighLevel, right? So if the lead came through GoHighLevel, we already have the name, so we don't really care about that. So I'm just gonna delete this. Time is the only thing that I need, and we click on next, and then what is your tool name? It's gonna be GoHighLevel booking new 2, and then the description would be the person you're talking to wants to book an appointment actually thinking about it, I don't need to create a new tool. You just go ahead and create that tool. If you need that, then you just click on create and then the tool will be there. I already have that identical tool, so I don't need to do anything on that. Okay, fantastic. So after you've created the tool, you need to go back to your assistant and then you need to go to functions and then you need to go to tools over here and then you would click the space over here and then you would find GoHighLevel booking tool, whatever name you gave it, and then you would just click on that. Oops, cool. And then you would click on publish. So now we have everything we need in Vapi to start the procedure. Okay, actually I ended up creating this tool because I need to trigger the new webhook. So I'll just continue with that. And now what I'll do is I'll go to my assistant, I'll go to functions, and then I'll change the tool from the previous one to the new one. And I'll click on publish. And the only thing that I'll change in the model is request a preferred date and time for the appointment and run the GoHighLevel booking new to tool. So now let's talk with Mary.
Hello, this is Mary from Mary's Dental. What can I help you with?
Hey Mary, I'd like to book an appointment.
Spill the beans.
I'll spill the beans. I'll spill the beans. So, hello. I want to book an appointment for tomorrow at 2 p.m.
This'll just take a sec.
Here we go.
Looks like 2 p.m. tomorrow is a no-go.
Oh.
How about 1:30 p.m. or 2:30
Look at
p.m.
that.
instead?
Fantastic. We have tomorrow 2 p.m. here. I don't need you, Mary. And by the way, this is the second scenario. So we'll just say Vapi test 2 out of 2. And then we have this scenario, which is going to be Vapi test 1 out of 2. By the way, guys, you will need to create this scenario as the first scenario and then this scenario as the second scenario. You can find the blueprints of this scenario so that you can just come here to more and then import blueprint, and then you can just drop it here and it can pop up in your screen. In my school community, it's going to be the first link in the description below. Cool. So now what I'll do is I'll go to my GoHighLevel thingy over here. So basically I have just a new workflow and just a webhook, a regular webhook. I had already done it, but I'm gonna change the webhook here because I'm just creating it from scratch for you guys. I'll go over here and then I'll create a webhook, custom webhook. Again, you need to create a new webhook. Just name it whatever you want. Vapi test 1 out of 2. And then you save that and then you copy address to clipboard. Whenever you have your webhook over here, the method is going to be post. Then you would just paste the URL over here from the webhook. And then you need to send specific custom data to the webhook. Yeah, I'll just do it from the beginning just so that you're tracking. So you would click this add item over here. Then the value is going to be contact, then first name. Then the next value is going to be contact. Then it's going to be phone raw format. And then the last one is going to be contact and then ID. And contact ID is the most important thing that we need here. The next one, you need to name your custom data. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be first name, then it's going to be phone, and then it's going to be contact ID, and then save action. Fantastic. Cool. So now what I'll do is I'll go here to test workflow. I have already imported my phone number with my name in GoHighLevel. So what I'll do is I'll select the contact and I'll go to Fivos. It's basically this one. I'll get this webhook to start running around like that. And then I'll just run test. Oh, it's calling me. Figure out exactly what happened. Oh yeah, I need to save it. I need to save it. Now what happened is that it was calling me because I didn't save it and I had already created the whole automation to call me from the other scenario. Okay, so now it should be working. Let me just double check here. Yeah, it should be working. It's the same webhook URL. So yeah, let me just save action, test workflow, and yeah, run test. Here we go. Fantastic. So now we have the phone number here, we have the first name, and where is custom data? contact ID. Now, thinking about it, I don't really need the first name and the phone number. I already have them up here, but whatever. I just need the contact ID. So whatever, you can just delete these two, to be honest. Save action, and then save, and it should be okay. Fantastic. So now, next thing is going to be an HTTP module. Now, HTTP module, what it does is it interacts with different parts of the internet, and you can create connections. In simple terms, you can create connections with the HTTP module that are not available, like available connections in within platforms. For example, there is no connection in make.com so that you get Vapi to call you. I mean, there is one, but sometimes it doesn't work very well. Anyway, so in simple terms, you create connections through the internet. You can create like very advanced connections with HTTP. So we have to find a make a request module over here. Then the URL is going to be this specific URL. Is going to be https://API, whatever you can see here. You can just write it out. Then method is going to be post, because we're going to get GoHighLevel to call us. So we need to send, get Vapi to call us. So we need to send, we need to basically send information so that Vapi calls us. Then the headers, very important. First header is going to be authorization. Authorization, then it has to be bearer space. And then you need to go to your Vapi account. You need to go to this little button down here. You need to go to API keys. And then over here that says private, you need to copy your private key. Cool. And then you go back to the scenario and then you paste it here. Again, you need to have the exact phrase bearer with capital B space and then the key. Now bearer, this means bearer token. Okay, so bearer means who bears, like who holds the token. So in this case, this token or this little code acts like a key, like you hold the key so that Vapi sees that you have the authorized access so that Vapi initiates the call. Okay, so if you have the private key over here, you bear, you hold the key basically, you hold the token so that you can say, hey Vapi, just call that number. Okay, the next one is gonna be content hyphen type, exactly as I write it, and then the value is gonna be application slash JSON. Okay, now what is JSON? Before I explain what JSON is, you go down here, the body type is gonna be raw, content type is gonna be JSON, and then request content is gonna be exactly what I have over here. Okay, so this is a piece of JSON. Okay, now JSON stands for, I really like, by the way, explaining this stuff, because sometimes people don't explain this stuff and people do not understand that. Like I didn't understand it. By the way, I'm not a developer, I'm not a data scientist. I'm literally like, I had to learn basically coding, a bit of coding here with ChatGPT. This is what I did. And JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript is a programming language, and JSON, from what I understood, it's not exactly JavaScript, but it's similarly structured like that. Like this is how JavaScript is structured. There are different structures and different ways that code is written. So JSON is written basically similarly to JavaScript. Then object is what is specified in the structure over here. For example, in this case, we specify assistant, we specify the phone number ID. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Then we specify customer number and name, like which assistant we have, which is Mary basically. And then notation basically is the structure and these little marks over here, these different marks. And yeah, this is why it's called JSON. Okay, this is a piece of code that specifies something in the code. Fantastic. So now, assistant ID, you will have basically quotation marks, and you need to put your assistant ID, you need to put your phone number ID, and then for the phone and name, I'll just delete it over here, but let me do it one by one. Assistant ID, we will go back to Vapi, we go to assistants. The person that is gonna be calling the leads in this case is gonna be Mary for me. Now, I'm not gonna go into this video on how you're creating your perfect assistant for your case. I'm gonna be creating more videos on how to do that, but you can basically create whatever kind of assistant you want. And then you come over here, and then in the assistant ID, you paste the assistant ID from over here. Okay, cool. Now, phone number ID. We have assigned Mary to this phone number. So what we're gonna do, this is the phone number ID, we copy that, and then we go back to make.com, and then we drop it over here. Fantastic. And now, number and name. For the number, you have the number over here. By the way that GoHighLevel formats numbers sometimes, it's not exactly like that. It's not like +1 or plus country code and then the numbers one after the other, but it formats the numbers sometimes in a different way, which makes it difficult, or which actually makes it impossible for Vapi to call that number. Okay, so you will need to choose the number that looks like that, plus country code and then the numbers one after the other. So we click on that for phone number, and then for name, we just click on the first name and we are set. Fantastic. So if everything goes well, when I run this, then basically Vapi is gonna call me. Before we complete the scenario, we need one more module, which is super important to have, and it's gonna be a data storage module, and it's gonna be an add or replace a record. Now, you need to create your own data storage. I have already done it, but I'm gonna create one from scratch. Okay, so we click on add over here, and then we give it a name, for example, Vapi test storage. Then, super important, choose a data structure. You click on add over here. We basically need two different items in the data structure. Cool, so the first one is going to be contact ID, and type is going to be text. Default, you do nothing here, and then you will add another item, and then it's going to be phone number. Fantastic. Then you click on save, and you click on save here, and you are set. Cool. Now, the contact ID, you will need to take the contact ID from custom data over here, contact ID, you click on that, and then the phone number, you will need to click on the phone number over here, and you click on OK, and we have everything ready over here. So now let's go ahead and test that. I'll have the webhook run over here, and then again, I'll take myself through the webhook. Here we go. Fantastic. Cool. So it calls me, everything goes perfectly. Okay, cool. So now let me just refresh it here. So we have the entry over here for the contact ID and for the phone number that Vapi called. I will just delete it in this case. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue with the second scenario. Okay, so we're gonna add another module, and it's gonna be a data store, and we're gonna do search records. Then data storage is gonna be Vapi test storage. The filter is gonna be phone number equal to, we don't have a number here yet. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to get Vapi to call me, and then I need to trigger this webhook, which is the appointment. I need to say that I need to book an appointment. So let me just do that. Here we go. What's up, Mary?
What can I help you with?
I'd like to book an appointment.
Sure thing. What's your preferred date and time for the appointment?
2 p.m. tomorrow.
This will just take a sec.
Cool. It's okay, I don't need you, Mary. Cool. So now we have, customer. It should be customer. Cool. We have the phone number over here, and we're ready to rock. Yeah, here we go. Customer number, and we're good to go. Okay. Now, next one is going to be again data store, and we need to get a record. So key is going to be contact ID. Okay, so what is it? Key contact ID. We have to specify the data store, and we'll click on OK. So next one is gonna be a ChatGPT completion. You need to connect OpenAI or ChatGPT with make.com. If you have not done that yet, you will have to basically go to platform.openai.com, then find your API key, and then drop it here. The model is going to be GPT-4o. Then the message is going to be system. Okay, now you need to say exactly this. This went through a lot of trial and error. And basically what it says is you will be provided with a future day in caps, because at some point it was giving me past dates. Your only job is to receive the date and time and format it in this way. Why do we want to format it this exact way? Because if we go to GoHighLevel documentation, the API documentation, we go to calendar events and then create appointment. The time that is required is basically in this specific format. So by the way, this prompt, you're gonna find it again in the school community under systems templates. I have one course, it's not exactly course, it's just the templates there in school community that's called systems templates. You're gonna find it over there. And then after that, you need to click on add a message, then role is gonna be user. And then the message content is going to be the exact time that the person said that they want to book an appointment. Max tokens, we're gonna say 0, and then we'll click on OK. Now after that, this is where the magic happens. Okay, so we will need an HTTP request, make an OAuth 2.0 request. Now I have already connected it here, but if you haven't, then you have to do that first. You would go to add, then I'll just say Vapi test number 2. Authorization code is gonna be the authorized URI. I have it already over here. It's gonna be marketplace.leadConnectorHQ. It's basically gonna be exactly what you see over here. You can just pause the video. And then token URI is going to be services.leadconnectorhq.com OAuth token. Now scope, at scopes, again, you will have to determine this specific connection. Scope is basically how much access you give to the application. Okay, so if you remember from back in the day, we gave this exact authorization or access, which is calendars.read-only, calendars.write, calendars events read-only, and calendars events write. And we basically, we need to add them over here. I have already added them a few times, so I'm just gonna do that. Calendars read-only, and calendars write, then calendars events read-only, and then calendars events write. Cool. Now, this is where we need client ID and client secret. So you go back to your very nice Google Doc, you get the client ID, and then you drop it over here. And then for client secret, you do the same. Fantastic. Now we have everything here. There's one small detail that you need to do in order for it to work correctly, which is you need to toggle this on, and you need to change the scope separator from comma to space. Otherwise, this won't work. And then we'll click on save. And then if everything works well, you will have this thingy pop up. And then you will need to determine your own sub account, the exact sub account that you will be using this Vapi agent with. Okay, so in my case, I'll use this one. Fantastic. Now the connection is there. And then for URL over here, we need to go to, because we want to book an appointment, we'll go back to the documentation, and then we scroll down to calendar events, then create appointment. And this is going to be the URL, and it's going to be a post action. So we put the URL here, then the action is going to be post. Now headers. There are 2 required headers. One is the authorization, but in my understanding, we do not need the authorization now because we have already connected. This is what we just did with the HTTP module. But the other header that we need is version. So we take that and we click on that header. We go to name. We drop version over here, and then we take the only allowed value that we have. We copy that and we go back here, and in the value we just drop it there, and that's pretty much it. Now we go down to body type. We change it to row. Content type is going to be JSON again, and the request content, you have to put that exact thing with calendar ID, location ID, contact ID, and start time. Now, why do we need that? Because in the body here, this is exactly what is required. Calendar ID, location ID, contact ID, and start time. Now, in the JSON, you can have more parameters like for example, end time, you can have title, you can have appointment status, and you can for sure have that. But I'm going for what is required now just to show you how it works. And if you want more parameters, you can add them. Fantastic. So calendar ID. So you basically need to go to your calendar. I'm going to go with test calendar over here. I take the ID of the test calendar. I go back to make. I drop it over here at calendar ID, location ID. I have to go back to my sub account. And this is the exact location ID, basically everything after the slash and before the next slash is the location ID. So I can just copy that and then I drop it. It's going to be the same anyways, how you would drop your own location ID here. Now contact ID, this is why we needed the data storage from the first step and then the second step, because otherwise we would not have contact ID in this step, and it is required per the documentation over here. So what I would do, I take this off, and then for over here at data store, I click on contact ID and then start time. Very important now. Start time is basically the time of the appointment, the time that the person wants to book an appointment. Okay, so you will have a specific time in start time over here, which is going to be the result from this step, right? So this step is going to give you a specific result. Hopefully it's not very confusing, but over here, the person said, I want to book for 2 p.m. tomorrow. Cool. So this step, the ChatGPT step, takes that time and formats it correctly per what GoHighLevel needs in order for you to book an appointment in GoHighLevel. And then it gives a time. Yeah, it gives a time over here. Now, the time, let's say 2 p.m. If you don't put anything else after that, it's going to book for 2 p.m. GMT time, which is, I think, London time. You will have to determine your own time zone in relation to that time. For example, for me, it's +2. Okay. By the way, there is a way to check that out, and you would basically go to settings. Yeah, here we go. It's GMT +02:00. Okay, +2. So now this is my time zone, and this is what I put here. Fantastic. Now we click on OK. Next, we're gonna create a router function. And the first function is going to be a webhook. It's going to be the only option that you will have here is webhook response. Status is going to be 201. Now, status 200 means that something was successful. Okay, actually booking an appointment is not 200 exactly, it's 201 because it's not only successful, let's say it's not only what you wanted to do, but something was created. This is what I understood when I checked out what 201 means, and it means that something was created. In this case, it was an appointment. Now for the body, you will need to paste this exact JSON over here, and then for tool call ID, you go back to the first step, you go to tool calls, and then you find the ID here, so you paste that there. And then if the appointment was successful, the result is going to be perfect. This is what the person is going to say. This is what the Vapi agent is going to say. Perfect, your appointment is booked for desired time. So in this case, it would be 2 p.m. tomorrow. Cool. And then after that, what we'll do is, again, a data store, delete a record, key is going to be the key from the second step. Now, I know that I don't have so much data here, or actually any data, because I haven't run it, but I have done this so many times, and I know it's gonna work. So yeah, actually, oops, yeah, let me just, oops, come on, bro. Yeah, let me just run it once, just to have some data. Cool. So I'll run this once, and then I'll run this once. I'll go back to my workflow. I'll take myself through the workflow. Here we go. All right. So we answer that. What's up, Murray? Hey, Murray. I'd like to book an appointment.
Cool. When works best for you?
How about tomorrow at 2 p.m.?
One moment. You're all set for tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Coolios. Thank you. So it looks like there was no appointment booked. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, I didn't put a filter here. I forgot my filter, so I'll say appointment booked, status code equal to 200, 201. Cool. And then if status code is not 201, we will go over here, and then the filter in this case is going to be slot not available, and the condition is going to be the data here. As you can see here, it says the slot you have selected. It says the slot you have selected is no longer available. Okay, so we'll copy that, and then so you can say appointment slot not available. Then the condition is going to be data not equal to, but very important, contains case insensitive, no longer available. You click on OK. So we're gonna use tools, and then we're gonna set multiple variables. Okay, so now we need to set two different variables. The first variable name is gonna be start time, and the second is gonna be end time. Now, what we need to do here is we need to, let's say that the person wanted to book an appointment for Friday, let's say 2 p.m. So start time is going to be the very beginning of Friday, and then end time is going to be the very end of Friday, but before Saturday. So just imagine that we take the whole time between literally 1 millisecond after Friday starts, or actually exactly when Friday starts, and then 1 millisecond before Friday ends. So we take the whole of Friday, and then we're gonna give that to one of the next modules, actually the very next module, and we're gonna say, give me the time slots available in that time frame, which is Friday. Okay, so that we can say, for example, if the slot is not available, the bot can say 2 p.m. is not available, but 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. are available. Do you want to book in one of these times? Okay, so this is going to be the value to format the time into something that is called epoch time. Now, what is epoch time? It's a time that looks like this, and what it means is the amount of milliseconds. Actually, it should have a few more milliseconds over here. It should look somehow like this. It's the amount of milliseconds that have passed from 1970. I think January 1st of 1970. Why? Don't ask me. I have no clue why this time frame even exists. And the end time is going to be basically the exact same thing, but we add 1 day, we subtract 1 millisecond. Okay, why? Actually, let's run it and I'll show you why. I'm just gonna take myself through the workflow again, run test. What's up, Mary?
This is Mary from Mary's Dental.
I know.
What can I help you with?
I want to book an appointment.
Sure thing. What's your preferred date and time for the appointment?
How about tomorrow, 2 p.m.?
Give me a moment. Well, it looks like 2 p.m. isn't available tomorrow.
Okay.
How about 1:30?
All right, cool. So look at that. This is the start time. Basically, what we did here is we took the time of, the time and specifically the date from this step, which is this result. Okay. And we took that date, which is basically tomorrow, Thursday, and we converted that to this kind of time. So if we come here, we drop the epoch time. Okay, this is in Greek here. It says Thursday, 8th of August, 2024. It says 12 a.m. In my time zone. Okay, so in GMT time zone is 2 hours before that. So it's Wednesday, 7 August, exactly at 10 p.m. And for me, it's exactly like the beginning of Thursday, the very, very beginning of Thursday. And then if we take the next time frame or the end time variable over here and we drop it here, it's literally a millisecond before Thursday ends. Now that's super important because if that was 1 millisecond afterwards, I have seen that the workflow makes mistakes, and it gives me, for whatever reason, it gives me time slots, available time slots for Friday too. Okay, so I don't want to do that, and yeah, this is exactly what you need to do. So now, next one is going to be again an HTTP module, and it's going to be a make again a no-auth 2.0 request. The URL is going to be exactly this one, services lead connector hq.com calendar, blah, blah, blah. You can just copy paste that. The only thing that you will need to change for yourself is the exact time zone that you are in. Okay, so for example, if we go, anyway, so this is my time zone, and the only thing that you need to include is Europe slash Brussels, or let's say that you're in this time zone, it's going to be Atlantic slash Canary. You will just need to put your own time zone over here. Then after start date and equal, it's going to be start time, and then end date is going to be end date over here. Method is going to be get. Then headers, so we just need version, and then the value is going to be this value again, and then we don't need anything else over here, so we save that. Next one is going to be a ChatGPT module, which is going to be super important to have so that it makes your life easier, and it's going to be GPT-4 row, add a message role system. And the message content, again, you will find that in my school community. What it basically says is you'll receive some data, which will be the available time slots in that day for booking an appointment. You'll also receive some data on when the person wanted to book the appointment for. Basically, the appointment was booked, and then we get the time slots over here. And then it says, so I want you to come up with 2 time slots. The first will be the closest available time just before the person wanted to book the appointment for, and the second will be the closest available time after the person wanted to book the appointment, and give it in your output. Always keep the day that the person said the same in your output. Example input, not available slot, that one. Available slots are these ones. An example output, unfortunately the slot tomorrow at 2 p.m. is not available. How about tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. or tomorrow at 2 p.m. based on the time slots over here. Okay, so, and a bit more, I have a bit more over here. Then the message is going to be, role is going to be user, and we're going to say not available slot. We're going to scroll down to function arguments, appointment time, and then we're going to say available time slots, and we're going to go to data. It's going to appear here, but yeah, anyways, I don't have any data over here right now, but this is what we need to do. And then we click on OK. Oops. Then max tokens is going to be 0, and then we click on OK. And then the last module, the very last module, is going to be status 200, which means success. Success in this case, from what I understand, on retrieving the time slots, the available time slots. The body is going to be exactly this. Tool call ID is going to be tool call ID is going to be tool calls the ID over here, and the result is going to be the result from the last ChatGPT module. In this case, for example, it says, let's say that the available time slots were 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And then the webhook is going to say, basically, we have 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Do you want to book one of these times? Cool. So this is the whole thing, guys. Let's run it once. Let's test it out, and let's see what happens. I actually saw that I made a mistake. So over here at key, you would not put contact ID. That was a mistake of mine. You would put the key from the last step. Okay, so this is the exact thing that you need to put here. Okay, so we're gonna test the workflow again in GoHighLevel. Run test. Here we go. What's up, Murray? I need somebody to pull my tooth out.
Yikes. Ouch. Let's get that sorted for you. When's a good date and time for you?
How about tomorrow at 1 p.m.?
Just a sec. Oopsies, 1 p.m. taken. How about tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m.?
Which times did you say?
Oh, sorry. I meant tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. What works for you?
How about 4:30 p.m.? Sorry.
One moment. Cool. Cool. Let me lock that in for you. Awesome. You're all set for tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. See you then.
Let me just check something. Don't hang up.
Got it. I'll stay put. No
Stay
worries.
stay put, Mary. Please. Stay put.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Please.
You got it?
It's fine, Mary. I don't need you anymore. Thank you very much.
No worries. Happy to help anytime. Bye.
Guys, I'm very proud. Now, the reason that it went through the thingy a few times is because I had run a few tests that I allowed it to go down here in the non-booked area, and I had stopped it. In general, what it would do is if it would go through the non-booked area, it will run back again, and then when it says, okay, you want 4:30 p.m. or 2:30 p.m. or something like that, whenever you have the appointment, it would just delete the record over here so that you don't have the same record all the time, and then you have so many modules running over and over again. Okay guys, so this is the whole thing. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it valuable. Again, join my school community below. I'll show you how to sell these things for a lot of money. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See you in the next video.